Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about my eyeshadow collection. I promised you guys a few weeks back an updated collection video, and I may have bitten off too much that I can chew. So with all of that said, stay tuned and find out what my collection looks like now. Okay guys, so like I said, I'm doing a eyeshadow collection update. This may be a long video, but before we get started, if you like this kind of content, give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell so that you're notified every single time I upload a video. Now, let's get into it. So I'm going to go for my top palettes, my ones that I reach for, that are right here next to my table. And it's still a lot. So starting off, I have three Urban Decay Naked palettes. I have the Naked 2, I have the Naked Honey, and I have the Naked Smoky palette. These three have a little slot right here next to my desk, and why is that not sitting in there? Okay, I'll figure that out in a second. But they are right here. There are some that I grab most days. Now, I have some decorative palettes that I don't grab for often, but still will, that also live over here in this corner. So that would be the Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette. It sits right over here. Why are things falling? Okay. I have three Storybook Cosmetic palettes. I have, this is the Little Briar Rose palette. I have the Witchcraft and Wizardry palette. And then I have this little one, which is the Robin Hood palette. These have very interesting, colors. So I don't use these by themselves, but I do like grab them to get a certain color that I may want or may need for a look. So they live right over here. Plus I love the aesthetic of the book. It is so cute. Now this one I will use all by itself. This one I can get one cohesive look out of, and that is because that is the color story, which if you watch this channel a lot, you know that greens are kind of my thing. So with this I can make a very nice green look that is very wearable and is very pretty. Why aren't you sitting flat? Okay, we're having some issues. Moving on. Ooh. Almost had an entire drawer of eyeshadow fall. That gave me a heart attack. Also, in the same vein of palettes that are close that I reach for often, we have the Jeffree Star Alien palette, and this is like my dream palette. I love this palette. It's beautiful. I'm so sad that he made it limited edition. I mean, he discontinued it, because it's a beautiful palette and it wears very well. I just actually wore it the other day, yesterday. Now I have the BH Cosmetic Crystal Zodiac palette. This one's a new one. I haven't gotten a whole lot of use out of it, but I do love these shimmers around here are beautiful. Also this gigantic shimmer that's also a great highlighter. Like, look at that. It is beautiful. So it lives right over here. It's also too big for most of my other storage, so it lives right over here in the rack. Like I have like an old magazine rack that I put my eyeshadows in. Next, my Jeffree Star Cremated palette. If you've seen, I've done two videos on this. I did the reveal and then I did multiple looks one palette, because I love this. I love this. I live for this color story. This is so me. And it's beautiful and wonderful and lovely, and yes, I still put all the plastics back over my eyeshadow. So it lives right over here as well, but it lives on top of the Jaclyn Hill palette. This palette is a very good palette just to grab and do a quick look out of. This is the original one, so it doesn't have all the changes that Morphe did, but it wears very easily. You can come up with multiple looks, so if you don't quite know what you want to do, you can just grab this palette and come up with a look. So that is why it lives over here. So it lives right back here. Why are my palettes not fitting like they're supposed to now? And then the Jeffree Star palette lives on top of it, because I reach for that too. Now I have two drawers over here that I have eyeshadow in, and then I have eyeshadow tucked away in my desk. So let's get on. Now, next up, I have these 4 Huda Beauty Obsession palettes. I have the Coral palette, which is very nice for just like a light look. I have the Smoky palette, which is beautiful, and I love this. So my aesthetic. I have the Mauve Obsessions, but this one sucks. Okay, these mattes are terrible. The only thing that saves this palette is this white shade and the shimmers. That's it. And then my favorite, well-used, well-abused Emerald Obsessions. I love this palette so much. This shade right up here has a gigantic dent in it. This shade has a gigantic dent in it. I mean, love this palette. Then let's move into some other things that are tucked right over here. I have the Urban Decay On the Run palette, which I love so much. It is beautiful, easy to use, easy to come up with a look, beautiful shimmers, goes on easily, love it. I pair it quite often with this palette, which is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette, which looks like that. Since this is all mattes, I use shimmers out of the Born to Run palette or out of another palette that I will quite often pair with things, which is this Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Volume 3, because this palette only has one matte and the rest are shimmers. The shimmers are beautiful, so I pair it quite often with other things. Then we have 3 palettes that are kind of just oddities, but I've been reaching for. We have the Dominique Cosmetics Celestial Thunder palette. I got this out of a BoxyCharm. That's the color story. It's not hugely something I would wear, like this pink and this blue color over here, but these browns are beautiful, the shimmers are gorgeous, so it's a very good palette just to have, you know, for a quick brown look. If you want to use the shimmers on something else, it is beautiful. Also, I have this Violet Voss Essentials palette. I also got this out of a BoxyCharm. This is the color story. It's okay. It's not something I reach for often, but it's okay. Then a color story that I don't wear very often, but have been getting into a little bit, is this Ruby May #Brights palette. I got this out of a Tribe Beauty box, and that is the color story. Very neon, very bright, and as you can tell, some of my favorite palettes are darks, but I have been kind of experimenting with color a little bit more, so it's a nice palette. It wears very well, so there's that. Now I have some palettes tucked back here in the corner. One of my very first, when I started getting back into makeup, one of my very first higher end palettes was this palette. This is the Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics. Again, an all matte palette, so with this I would pair some of these other ones. Gorgeous formula. Some of the shades are a little patchy, so I don't reach for this one very often anymore, but it is also a very good reference for if I have something else and I'm wanting to see what colors would go together well. This is a good reference palette. Then on to my ColourPop palettes. I have 3 of them. My very abused green Just My Luck palette, which is gorgeous. I mean, this shade, that shade, that shade, gorgeous. I wear the crap out of it. Then my newer but also very well loved Meant to Be palette, which looks like that. Gorgeous. And some of these colors, like these over here, if you mix them with a brown, look beautiful. And then, of course, have we not seen a theme yet? Have we not guessed a theme yet? This is the Smoke Show palette. I got it before they changed the name, so mine is the Smoke Show palette. And of course, have we seen a theme of my favorite palettes yet? Have we? Have you? Have you figured it out? Moving on to one of my more expensive palettes, I do have a Viseart palette. It's tiny. This is the Dark Edit palette. It is much tinier in person than it is on the computer. But, let me move that. But it is still very pretty, very easy shadows to use. The shimmers are beautiful, and these palettes, these pans are magnetic, so you can just pop it right on out and pop it right back in. It's a very interesting little palette. I'm still kind of figuring out looks to do with this palette, but since it is also very small, it can be a very great companion palette. I have these 3 single shadows from ColourPop. This went with my Smoke Show, and it's just a white, a silver, and a black. They're all shimmer shades. They are beautiful. They are the Super Shock shadows. They're gorgeous. And I'm hitting pan on, what is that one? Frisky, the white one. I'm already hitting pan on it because it's beautiful. I have this little all shimmer palette from Wet n Wild. This is the Jade from their gemstone collection, I guess. These are very pretty. This is a very duochrome white. It has like a green shift to it, which makes it gorgeous and also very easy to use. I have some loose pigments. These are all from Wet n Wild. I have a red one, a gold one, and a silver one. And I don't use them that often anymore, but they're still very pretty. In the loose pigment glitter range, I have this Vixen Potion. I got this out of Tribe Beauty as well. This is from Venus Gal Cosmetics. It's very pretty, but if you open this, you have like little flakes everywhere. I'm probably still cleaning up flakes from the last time I messed with it. Then on to things that are right here next to me that I reach for a lot. So, okay. These are a lot of little single eyeshadows that I may just grab, pop a little color on. I have this ColourPop. This is Ladybird Super Shock. It's kind of a creamy white champagne-y color. I have several green ones. Now this one is a matte green. It's a very pale green. This is Flux. I have a Special Delivery, which is a middle of the road shimmer green. This is a very green shimmer. This is Cusp. And this one is Meant for You, which is right in between the other two. So if you wanted to do an all shimmer green look, I got you. Then let's see what else we have here. I have two Ace Beauté shadows. This one is Iced Latte, which is kind of a bronzy color. This one is Cotton Candy, which is like a pink shimmer. Then this is my favorite eyeshadow from Urban Decay. I love this color. This is Lounge by Urban Decay. It is gorgeous. It will not do it justice on camera, but it shifts like green, purple, blue. It is absolutely beautiful color. I love it so much, and I have it. Now, just for some basics, I have just a basic like brown. I have this very light color. This is in Creme Brulee. This one was in Teaser. This is from DLS, and this is from Wet n Wild. If I'm needing just a matte basic tone, I'm going to reach for those two. This one is from Nomad, and it is a beautiful green. It is gorgeous, and I will use that a lot during my green month looks. Then we have IBY, which is this beautiful brown shimmer. This is in Headliner. That is what it looks like. It is gorgeous. It's a very unique color that I don't have anywhere else, so I keep that single right over here as it falls over where I don't need it to. And then another very unique shade is from the Balm, and this is Take It for Granite. It's a very like lavendery shade. It's very pretty. It's just a little single, and if I'm needing that shade, I have it tucked away. Now on to some other palettes that I have. I have the Tarteist Pro Remix. Beautiful. I love my Tarte shadows. I have this Smashbox, what is this, Masterclass palette. It has eyeshadows, bronzers, blushes, and a lip palette. I never use the lip palettes, but these shadows are gorgeous. These face products are gorgeous. Love this thing. It is definitely worth the money. Now, an eyeshadow palette that I hate having in my collection, that I despise and wish ill on, is a Morphe palette. This is the Nightmaster 15N. I got this in a BoxyCharm. Gorgeous color story. Love the color story. It performs like sure shit. This shade right here, this shade right here are shimmers, and they are hard panned. Like, literally hard panned. Can't get hardly crap out of it. Like, nothing. It is disgusting. The mattes perform horribly. They're very chalky, streaky, patchy. I hate this palette. I've tried to make it work 1,001 ways. I cannot stand it. So, it hangs out in the very bottom of the drawer underneath the palettes that I like, and that's where it's going to stay. Because I wouldn't even pass that on to anybody because it performs like shit. Then we have this Crown Glam Metals palette. Love these shades. They're beautiful. They perform well. They're pretty. Most of these are shimmers. There's a couple of mattes, but it's still gorgeous palette. Another gorgeous palette that performs beautifully is this Urban Decay Elements palette. Love this thing. It is beautiful. Stunning shimmers. Gorgeous colors. Pays off beautifully. This middle shade right here, gorgeous highlight, and also gorgeous eyeshadow. And then one of my early like makeup in my stash is this Tarte Holiday from a couple of years ago. Just a basic palette, nothing major. It's got the little blush bronzer over here on the side. I don't reach for this very often, but when I do, it does give a beautiful eye look. But I have most of those shades now in other palettes, so that chunky palette might be going somewhere soon. And with that down, let's get into the hidden ones. These are not hidden because I hate them. They're actually ones that I do reach for quite often and love, but I've run out of storage space other places. So, my Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette. Absolutely adore this thing. It is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Performs beautifully, wears beautifully. Love this palette. Also down here is my Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson Conspiracy Theory. Again, lovely palette. Performs beautifully. Shimmers are beautiful. Great palette. Let's just do all the Jeffree Star ones. Then I have the Mini Jawbreaker, also a very gorgeous palette, and the Mini Controversy, which is also gorgeous. Then, as you've seen in another video, I did add the Jeffree Star Androgyny palette because it came broken, if you remember, but it is still beautiful, wears beautiful. Matter of fact, I am wearing Dominatrix in my crease today, and I'm wearing frosting on the inner corner of my eye, and I just stuck my finger in Androgyny. So there's Androgyny. And then I've added the Jeffree Star Beauty Killer palette to my collection, and this is gorgeous. I love this palette. I'm actually wearing China White underneath my eyebrow today. I'm wearing Princess right here on the very inner corner of my eye. I've worn Princess as a highlighter shade. It is gorgeous. And I'm wearing Rich Bitch right over here on the outer corner of my lid. It is beautiful. Love it. So that takes care of all of my Jeffree Star palettes. Now let's move into other palettes that I have down here. These were a Christmas gift from my son, and I love them. I have like these and the face palette and the highlighter palette, but these are the Popo Funk eyeshadow palettes. So the Evil Queen is, this is the neutral palette. They actually do wear kind of well. They're a little powdery and maybe a little patchy. You do have to kind of blend them very well, but they still make very cute eye looks. I mainly got them for the outer package. I bought it for the packaging. And this one is the, I can't remember what they call it, but it's the darker palette. It's very pretty. Now some of these shades are absolutely gorgeous. Like Rebel is not very good. It's supposed to be like a silver glitter. It's not very good. But this shade, Forest of Thorns right here, is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful. And then here in the Evil Queen palette, let's see here, Nothing to Envy is very, very pretty. I'm going to put that right across my knuckle right there. Very pretty. So I have those tucked in here. Then I have some new palettes that I haven't actually tried yet. So I do have another Urban Decay Naked palette. This is the Reloaded palette. I got this on sale. And I love the like squishy outer packaging. And then the inside, very basic colors. I haven't tried this one yet, but I have it. And then I have one in here that I got in a Try Beauty box that I haven't tried yet. And this one is from Suva Beauty, and this is the Rose Period palette. If I can get the package open. Don't drop it. Very pretty outside packaging. And here is the inside color theory. I don't wear very many reds, and I definitely don't wear very many pinks, but during the winter I do tend to pull out reds more, so I might be showcasing this when it starts getting a little cooler outside. Also tucked away in here is my Kat Von D Fetish palette. Some of these shades are horrible and others are beautiful. The shimmers are gorgeous. So I have this. This was one of my other like early on higher up palettes. Then for Kat Von D, I also have the Lolita Por Vita palette, and I absolutely love this palette. It is gorgeous. You can come up with a bunch of different looks. These foil shades right here are absolutely amazing. The pressed glitter, I'm not a huge fan of glitter, but it actually is very pretty. Then I have this Lime Crime Venus XL number 2 palette. Some of these shades absolutely suck. They hard pan, like this Thorn shade's hard panned. This Myth shade is hard panned. But some of these are actually very pretty and beautiful. So you just kind of have to weigh about the hard panness out to see if it's worth it for you. Let me get some of these off of my desk and we'll move into other ones. So I have this Melt Cosmetics trio going on here. Of course I have the Smoke Sessions palette. I wore this the other day. Absolutely stunning. Love this. Now this shade right here, this Sour Diesel shade, does seem to wear off throughout the day, so you might want to just do that for like short looks. Then I have the Melt Vita and Morte palettes that make the skull because I had to. The Vita palette is more light colors. Now these browns right here perform beautifully. These other shades I've actually worn like brighter looks and used them. They perform amazing. And the shimmers are gorgeous. The Mort palette is definitely more my aesthetic. It is very dark. And they have performed beautifully. I don't really wear blue eyeshadows, so I haven't gotten a whole lot out of these. But these darker greens down here I've worn these darker reds down here, and they are stunning. Stunning, I say, stunning. Then I have this little tiny palette in here. This is the Butter London palette. I don't remember the name of it. Oh, Natural Goddess. It's very pretty, but I never understood why this shade was in here given the color concept, but the shades work beautifully. The shimmers are gorgeous. Then I have like a whole little section of these little mini palettes right here. So Wonder Beauty Wondrous Fling. I got this I think in a FabFitFun box or something. I hate this palette. I hate it. I've never had fallout with shimmer shades. I had it with this palette. Winky Lux. This is the Mint Latte Kitten palette. I definitely got this one in a FabFitFun box. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. The shimmers are beautiful. The mattes are nice and smooth. But it only has 2 mattes in it, so you might need to grab another palette. Then I have 3 Smashbox palettes. I have the Smashbox Vladia palette, which is stunning. You can actually use these 2 shades as highlighters. These all work well. It only has these 2 mattes in it, so you might need to grab another palette. This is the Smashbox Cover Shot Minimalist. Is that it? Yeah. Minimalist Eye Palette. Now, very nice, neutral, quick eye looks. You have the cool tone, the more warmer tone. You can mix them a little bit. Beautiful. Then this is the Smashbox Cover Shot Nova palette. And also a very pretty color story. You got your purples, you got your black. It's very pretty. Very easy to use. These are great for traveling. You just chunk them in your makeup bag, and since they have the hard plastic, they're a lot more durable. I swear, guys, this will end eventually. Some new palettes that I've gotten that I'm not very impressed with. So we have the Zoeva Blanc Infusion palette. I'm not very impressed. I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm really not very impressed. It's very light. Even these darker shades come off very light. They don't have like that deep dark color that looks in the pan. The shimmers are nice, but they're also very subtle. This is just a very subtle neutral palette if you're looking for something for like a wedding or court meeting. Yeah, but for more darker things, don't touch it. The BoxyCharm Hello Charmers palette. I got this, of course, out of BoxyCharm. I'm intrigued by some of the shimmers in here. Full size and swipe up are more of like a duochrome shade or multi-chrome shade. Some of the shimmers are okay, but it's a color story that's really all over the place, and you'll need other palettes to come up with something cohesive that doesn't look like you were doing your makeup in the dark. An absolute love of mine is this Ace Beauté Oceanic palette. I love this palette, and you're fixing to see why. Look at those greens. Just look at them. They're beautiful. This whole entire palette works beautifully. Like I said, I don't really use blues that much, but I have swatched them and they're beautiful. These greens work so well together, and there are so many beautiful green shimmer shades that I do not have some of those tones of greens in my other palettes. So it is an absolute love of mine. I could not part with that palette. It is just too good. Now, so I've got those wedged back in there where they go. Let's move on. The Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. This is one that I mostly reach for during the winter. The really burgundy reds, the dark browns. This is more of a winter palette for me, but I have also noticed that I'm not reaching for it as much as I used to, since I have other palettes that I love more. The shades perform beautifully, and they wear beautifully. It's nothing against the palette, it's just not something that I wear most often. Another palette that I don't reach for that often, but also performs very well, is the Pure Festival palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm. The shimmers are gorgeous. I do not mess with these pressed glitters over here. I don't really wear hot pink or vibrant purple, but this orange shade is gorgeous. These browns work beautifully, and all the shimmers are absolutely stunning. Another palette that I have not been reaching for very often, but is also still very beautiful, is the Glam Light Miracle palette. I got this in a Try Beauty box. The shades work beautifully, but I do not wear a lot of pinks, so I don't reach for it too terribly often. Another palette, this must be like the palettes I don't use very often. Ace Beauté, this is the Scarlet Dust palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm, but again, we have a color story issue because I don't really do pinks. Now, some of these, like this orange shade is gorgeous. This Aruba, like light orange shade, is beautiful shimmer, but it's not something I'm reaching for on the daily. And this is a great palette to have if you need shimmers. This is the ColourPop Golden State of Mind palette, and mine has been abused, but the shimmers are beautiful. This is a completely all shimmer palette. As you can tell, like, I've torn the crap out of that shade and that shade and that shade, but it's an all shimmer palette, so if you're needing a shimmer of varying colors, that is a great palette to have around. And this is what I used to pair it with all the time. This is the BoxyCharm Pure palette. Again, another very abused palette. Like this shade right here has like a whole like dent in it, along with that shade. So it's an okay palette. Mattes are a little patchy. The shimmers are beautiful, but not something I recommend. Now, something I do recommend is this Alamar Cosmetics. This is the Renata, I don't know. I can't say Spanish, but this is volume 1. Got this in a BoxyCharm as well, but these shades, if I stop sticking my finger in eyeshadow, work beautifully. I also like taking this shade right here on some of my green looks. This shade is a beautiful highlight shade. These are very rich, a little dry, may need a little like work, but not a horrible palette to work with. Here again is another palette I don't reach for very often. Imagine that. This is the Suva Beauty Protege palette. This is definitely more like a winter tone palette, but it has 2 highlighters on either end. All the shades perform beautifully. Just not a color story I reach for often. Here is another palette that I use as a companion palette. This is the ColourPop Misunderstood palette from their Disney Villains collection. Since it has so many shimmers, I usually use this in conjunction with another palette to come up with a cohesive look, but they work beautifully, they wear a long time, and you have some shades in here that you're not going to find somewhere. Like this Forest of Thorns shade is absolutely stunning. Like it's just beautiful. Now, 2 of my other very well used, very loved and abused palettes are my Tartelette Toasted palette and my Tartelette in Bloom palette. These are, of course, this is a more warmy neutral shade, and this one is your more cool tone neutral shades. But again, sturdy packaging, grab one palette, do one look, and easy to carry with you if you need to, whatever. These are beautiful. We're getting to the end, people. We're getting to the end. Okay, so some more palettes that I have tucked away in here. If I am wanting to play with color, this is a great companion palette for color. This is the Rimmel London Magnificent Eyes Rainbow Edition. Has some really great shades in it, and these wear beautifully. They are very easy to use, not very powdery, not a lot of fallout. Great palettes. 2 other palettes that are beautiful but overpriced for what they are. These are all matte palettes. These are the Dose of Colors. This one is the Marvelous Mauves. We got these in BoxyCharm a few months back. That is that one. I actually got this one in my BoxyCharm. Gorgeous. All mattes. $30-something. I bought this one off of Poshmark. This is the Baked Browns. Gorgeous. They are so easy to blend out and look beautiful on the eyes, but you're going to need something else if you're wanting to do shimmer shades. It's just like that. Now I have 2 in my collection that I hold on for more nostalgic reasons. So these are e.l.f. palettes. They're not horrible, but they are all shimmer palettes. The first one is the 70 Feels, because if I was alive in like the 60s and 70s, I would have so been a hippie. And they're pretty shades. It just fell apart. It literally just fell apart. They're great shades. They are easy to use. That just really disturbed me. They're very easy to use. Great shimmer payoff, but it's an all shimmer palette. Also, the 90s mood, because I was a teenager in the 90s, and this was seriously my vibe. Black, gray, red, dark green, my vibe. This is what I wore. because I wanted to look the super gothest of all the goths. Here is another one of my brand new palettes that I have not gotten a chance to use. This is the Urban Decay On The Run G-Train palette. Of course, look at the outer packaging. I love that color story. It's beautiful. I just have not had a chance to dig into this one yet because I've had some, well, the cremated palette came along. So, here we go. Is this it? I think this might be it. The final two palettes in my collection, and I know I've been talking forever. I have the Beauty Creations Cali Chick palette, which is gorgeous, is lovely. It could be a dupe for the Tartelette Toasted palette. I'm actually going to be looking into that. It's only like $15, but the payout, the color payout is beautiful, and I enjoy it quite well. And my last palette is my Lime Crime Venus Immortalis palette. Mine came with a broken mirror, but that is so me. That blood red shade, that gray shade, the black shade, the white shade, the shimmers, all very me colors. This is a very nice palette to work with. It blends out very easily. It has great color payoff. Love this palette. And with all that said, that is all of my eyeshadows that I have in my collection. I have gotten rid of some. I've basically passed them on to friends, trying to be better. But if what Jeffree Star is saying, that this is a big year for Jeffree Star Cosmetics, I foresee more eyeshadow palettes in my future. So with that said, guys, if you like this video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what kind of eyeshadow do you have in your collection. Do you think mine is completely and utterly ridiculous? And what are your favorite palettes? What are your go-tos when you're doing your makeup? In the description box, there are 3 ways to support this channel: Patreon, PayPal, Minds, and I'm also going to have all of my social media linked down below. That is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my email. I think I just fixed this palette maybe. And also, I'm going to have 2 links in the description box. They are not affiliate links. I do not get any money if you use my links. But one is for BoxyCharm, and as you have seen, a lot of my eyeshadow palettes and stuff come from BoxyCharm. You can get some really, really great items in BoxyCharm, and the base box is only $25 a month. My other link, also not an affiliate, I get no money, but my other link is for Try Beauty Box. Again, you saw I got some really great palettes from Try Beauty. I also get other great makeup from Try Beauty. It is a bi-monthly subscription for $34, I want to say, bi-monthly. And if you use my link down below, you'll get 10% off of your first box. Now, with all that said, guys, I'm going to end this video here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.